Today, I'm going to be going over everything that you need to know about the new iPhone 16e that will be releasing on February 28th. And I'll also be sharing my thoughts on the design, specs, and pricing of the phone. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, so first, starting off with the obvious design changes. The iPhone 16e is only going to come in two colors, which are white or black, which is definitely different from the previous iPhone SE model, which gave you quite a few colors to choose from. It's also going to have a 6.1-inch OLED display, which is going to be the same size as the display on the iPhone 16, but with the iPhone 16e, it's going to have a notch instead of the dynamic island that the regular iPhone 16 has. And the display is also still going to be 60 Hz, which is to be expected as Apple's currently only reserving their 120 Hz displays for their Pro model iPhones. And it's also only going to have one 48 megapixel camera, which is actually slightly worse, I believe, than the main camera that the regular iPhone 16 has. And now moving on to the specs in more detail, and this is honestly really where I see like Apple just like cut corners with this phone, which is honestly kind of disappointing. First off, the iPhone 16e will have the A18 chip, but the thing that Apple did here is that instead of giving it the same amount of GPU cores that the regular iPhone 16 has, they took away one of the GPU cores. So whereas the regular iPhone 16 has the A18 chip with 5 GPU cores, the iPhone 16e is only going to have 4 GPU cores. So that means that the chip in the iPhone 16e will be slightly slower than the chip that's in the regular iPhone 16, which again, I feel like is another point where Apple's just cutting corners. Now, the good news is that the iPhone 16e will support Apple Intelligence, but to be honest, I currently don't think that this is really a deal breaker. And as of now, I don't think Apple Intelligence really matters that much, as right now it hasn't really been that useful. But Apple has also included the action button on the iPhone 16e as well, which can be useful. So they got rid of the ringer that was on the last iPhone, the iPhone SE, and they replaced it with this action button, which is also on the iPhone 16. It's on the iPhone 15 as well. But even though they added the action button, there's not going to be any camera control button on the iPhone 16e like there is with the 16 and the 16 Pro. But to be honest, most people didn't really like the control button anyways on the iPhone 16s. So I guess that the fact that this feature's missing doesn't really matter either. And a big spec update that I want to mention is that Apple's going to be using their first cellular modem, which is the Apple C1 in the new iPhone 16e, which they haven't used in any of their iPhones yet. This is their first like in-house custom Apple branded modem that they're going to be using in one of their smartphones. And like I said, this is not in any other iPhone, so the iPhone 16 and the 16 Pro do not have this. And the Apple C1 should be more efficient, but we'll have to wait to see if it's actually going to be as good, or if Apple's modems will actually be better than the Qualcomm modems that they've been using in their other iPhones. The iPhone 16e is also going to have USB-C, so they've gotten rid of the Lightning port, which I think is a huge upgrade. But unfortunately, here's another place that Apple cut corners. There's not going to be any MagSafe support like the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro, and this is actually a huge one in my opinion, because not only is the wireless charging going to be slower since there's no MagSafe, and this means that you can't use any MagSafe chargers, no MagSafe accessories with this new iPhone 16e, which like I said is a big deal. And yeah, MagSafe has been on iPhone since the iPhone 12, and I actually currently have the iPhone 12 Pro, so even my current phone does support MagSafe, even though it's 4 years old at this point. And it's a shame that a brand new phone that Apple just released doesn't even have this feature. There's also not going to be any ultra wideband chip, and this is also another important one I think to point out in my opinion. So the ultra wideband basically helps you, so like if you lose your phone, you get better precision tracking, so it makes it easier to find your phone rather than if you were to just use like the GPS that's built into your iPhone. So the tracking is more accurate, but unfortunately the iPhone 16e is not going to have this feature. And the ultra wideband chip is actually a feature that's been in iPhone since the iPhone 11, which came out like almost 6 years ago. And it's crazy that a phone that came out almost 6 years ago has a feature that this brand new phone that's coming out in 2025 doesn't have. So yeah, that's another place where I just see that Apple's like skipping corners. You know, the fact that the iPhone 11 has a feature that this brand new phone doesn't have is honestly kind of crazy. And maybe if it wasn't for the price that I'm gonna get into, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But because, you know, they raised the price up as well quite a bit from the last iPhone SE, it's honestly just, you know, disappointing. And I think Apple could have overall definitely done a lot better with this. Now, the one good thing that I do want to mention that's actually pretty surprising to me is that the iPhone 16e actually is going to have more battery life than the regular iPhone 16. Since the iPhone 16 has up to 22 hours of video playback, the iPhone 16e is apparently going to have up to 26 hours of video playback. So that's 4 hours more of battery life, which is a pretty big difference. And it's all due to the Apple C1 modem being more power efficient, I believe, which allows it to get that much battery life. And it's actually almost as much battery life that you're gonna get on the iPhone 16 Pro, as the Pro models have up to 27 hours of battery life. So with this phone getting 26, it's only 1 hour shorter, so almost the same as the 16 Pro. So this feature is actually pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, it just feels like Apple's like just like been like, you know, they cut some corners. Like, yeah, they add a few good features here and there, but then they just cut some corners on the other side. And it's like, when you weigh all the specs, like, is it really a good deal overall? But anyways, let's talk about the pricing finally. Now, the iPhone 16e is gonna start at $599, and this is one of the biggest issues that people have with this phone, because they're like, you know, this is retailing at way too high of a price, and at $600, this is almost $200 more than the last iPhone SE released at. So this is a pretty big markup in price. And once you really weigh down like all the drawbacks that you're getting with this new iPhone 16e, you know, compared to the 16, you know, you're losing a lot of features, right? You're losing MagSafe. You're not going to get that ultra wideband chip. The A18 chip is also missing a GPU core that's in the regular iPhone 16, so you're going to get slower performance. It has the notch instead of the dynamic island. So overall, you know, it's just a lot of features like that you're just missing from the iPhone 16, and they marked it up so much since the last iPhone SE, right? The only thing that's actually better in the 16e compared to the regular iPhone 16 is the battery life, since you're getting up to 26 hours versus 22 hours. But overall, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I still think the battery life on the iPhone 16 is probably really good. It should definitely last you like the whole day. I mean, I have an iPhone 12 Pro, and even the battery life on this phone lasts me almost the whole entire day. So even with the regular iPhone 16, I think you should still be fine. And you know, to be honest, I don't even know like who I would recommend this phone to. You know, I was thinking like, you know, when this phone does come out, right, because I was hearing the news of Apple releasing this phone, I was thinking like, okay, you know, this might be a good phone for like people on a budget, people who want an affordable phone. But $600 is a lot of money, you know, like $600 is not affordable. You know, you're still spending quite a bit of money on this phone. It's not cheap. Like, yes, it is more affordable than the other iPhones, but it's still like a mid-range phone. This isn't like a budget smartphone. And it's like for just $200 more, you could get the regular iPhone 16 that's gonna give you an extra camera, right? That ultra wide camera that could be very useful. You're gonna get the dynamic island, you're gonna get MagSafe, the ultra wideband chip, the camera control button, like all these new features that the brand new iPhones have, which a lot of these features Apple has, you know, taken away with this brand new iPhone 16, right? It's not gonna have a lot of these features, and it's like, you know, it's honestly just disappointing, especially when you consider that you could get like a refurbished iPhone 15 Pro, which was like last year's like basically top of the line model for like the same price. You know, if you buy it on the used market, it's like, you know, why would you even get this phone? Now, if this phone was like $500, you know, that would be better. You know, preferably I'd say if this was actually the same price as last year's iPhone SE, which retailed starting at $400, right? If they got this phone starting at $400 or $430, I think that would have actually been a really good deal. Even though they took all these features, I think for $430, like that's a budget like price. So to be honest, I wouldn't really recommend this phone to anybody. I don't think it's worth buying. I really don't. You know, like you could get a refurbished, even an iPhone 12 Pro. Like it's gonna have MagSafe, it's gonna have the ultra wideband chip as well. Yeah, it's 4 years older, but you know, it's gonna have all those features, right? The phone that I have, it has a couple features, you know, that this brand new iPhone 16e doesn't have, and you can get it for a cheaper price. So overall, I don't think this is worth it. I definitely don't think you should get this phone unless like somehow they drastically reduce the price to like, I don't know, maybe it goes on a drastic sale, like you could find it for like $400 or something. But overall, at its current price at $600, I definitely don't think that this phone is worth it. And yeah, I would tell like everybody to pretty much just stay away from this phone. Like if you do want a phone that's in that $600 price range, I would recommend just like searching the refurbished market, searching the used market. Like I said, you could literally get like last year's top of the line phone, basically, right? The iPhone 15 Pro. If you search the used market, you can get it for the same price. You know, you can find one for the same price that this iPhone 16e is starting at. So yeah, I would not recommend the 16e, but let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think the iPhone 16e is a decent phone? Would you recommend it to anybody? And do you even plan on buying this phone for yourself? Like I said, I don't recommend it, but I want to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, and if you want to see more tech, filmmaking, or even lifestyle content from me, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. And also check out any of my videos that YouTube recommends you to watch in the end screen above. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.